Was that 2 points dropped? I honestly think, on reflection, looking back at the game and how it played out, that for Newcastle is 1 point gain. It's Bournemouth, really, who should be disappointed that they're only leaving with a draw. Well, hello again from here inside St James's Park. And yeah, I tried to tell you in the preview video it would be a high-scoring draw, didn't I? And I've just walked into the press room and said to my colleagues, we all could have saved ourselves an awful lot of time and just written our reports earlier this morning, because that just captured the chaos and the weaknesses of this Newcastle team right now. And yes, there are mitigating factors, and we know they are. So I don't want it to sound like an all-out criticism, but we've got to analyse the game as what it was. And, you know, in terms of that, what we've come to expect, Martin Dubravka at fault for a goal, check. Dan Burn involved in a goal, check. The midfield being bypassed, Newcastle conceding a goal on the counter, check. Yet them somehow having the spirit to salvage a result, again, like Luton 2 weeks ago, check. Everything which we've spoken about, everything which we've written about during the past 4 or 5 weeks, that was on display there again in the second half. Call it what you want. Chaos, mayhem, anarchy, great fun to write about, you know, action-packed match report, but that doesn't really do any good for the progress of Newcastle. And as I said last week, just buckle up and enjoy the ride. This is what it's going to be like between now and the end of the season, until they get players back, until they address key weaknesses in the team, in the squad. I think we're going to see more of this week on week, and that is why you can't say with any confidence. You look at the fixtures: Luton at home, Bournemouth at home. Out of the remaining 6 matches at home, there's only Spurs to come here out of the top 6 teams. So you'd say winnable games. Well, yeah, but that's what happens. That's what plays out. There's no degree of certainty about anything that Newcastle United are doing right now. And if we're being honest, there today, was that 2 points dropped? I honestly think, on reflection, looking back at the game and how it played out, that for Newcastle is 1 point gain. It's Bournemouth, really, who should be disappointed that they're only leaving with a draw. I thought they were the better team. I thought they had the better chances. It's taken, in the end, another moment of mayhem. We'll go there to the goal which salvages the point for Newcastle. And to be fair to them, I said this yesterday, they never give up. They play for the manager, they play for each other. That is why they are salvaging points amid these storms of their own making. And the goal itself, Matt Ritchie, I don't know if he's turning the header back across goal. If he is, why isn't he heading on goal? If he is heading on goal, he miscues it. It bounces back to him via a Bournemouth player, via the goalkeeper at his feet, and he lashes it in. So it was always going to take a moment like that for Newcastle to take a draw, because honestly, after Bournemouth go 2-1 up in the 69th minute, I thought they were the better team. I thought they held the ball. Between their goal and Matt Ritchie's equaliser, I can't really remember Newcastle forcing a save from the goalkeeper, having a really clear-cut opening. Bournemouth, there was a spell, 5 or 10 minutes, when they were just pinging it around, and much like the Luton game at 4-4, when I thought Luton were the better team, Newcastle just couldn't get anywhere near them. And how did they find themselves in that position? Well, I'll tell you what, one secret Darren Ashworth won't have to smuggle out of St James's Park is that this current version of Newcastle United cannot defend. And we saw that in the first half before we get to Bournemouth's goals. In the first half, Newcastle were lucky really to get to the half hour at 0-0. I thought they started really sluggishly, and I clock watched it. I made a note of it. It took them 3.5 minutes to get the ball, to get any degree of meaningful possession. Now, on the back of that, Bournemouth had good chances. Dominic Solanke, twice he was denied by Martin Dubravka. Brilliant saves. Oh, by the way, reminds me now, I'm going to do full-out match ratings. Gone are the merit stars, RIP. I'm going to do full-out match ratings at the end of this video. Martin Dubravka's just sort of reminded me of that, because his mark might be slightly controversial. Anyway, yeah, Dubravka makes 2 absolutely brilliant saves. Newcastle at the other end, well, it's all just a little bit once over with Newcastle. I used to say this, didn't we? We knew how they would create chances. We knew how they would score goals. There was real functionality there. There was patterns of play. There was muscle memory. Right there now and today, it's all just a little bit random. And one of the best chances was Anthony Gordon chasing down a clearance from the goalkeeper, which bounces off him and spins wide. You then had a header which went away at the far post, and yeah, there was no fluency there, and you got to half time at 0-0. And again, you know, I honestly think Bournemouth would have been disappointed without. They come out in the second half and they take the lead, and just to visit the goal, Yes, it's a mistake by Martin Dubravka. He slips, allows Solanke in, but Bournemouth's pressing and Newcastle's lack of ideas of how to beat that. Through passing sideways and backwards, they've ended up at Martin Dubravka on the back of Bournemouth, applying a little bit of pressure. Bournemouth go 1-0 up. Newcastle's equalise. Anthony Gordon. Now, I want to talk about the award of this penalty if we can, because Andoni Iraola, the Bournemouth manager, has just come in to us there in the press room, and he was incensed by its award. And I get that. I actually agree with him. And I'd be interested to know what you guys think below the line. When the ball comes in, Fabian Schär for me is clearly in an offside position. Adam Smith tugs on his shirt, and you see the replay, and in the press box we say to each other, well, no, the offside trumps that. It shouldn't be a penalty. Michael Salisbury, the referee, is then sent to the monitor. It takes an absolute age. How frustrating is that? If it takes that long, it's not a penalty for me. He then points to the spot, and the explanation given to Iraola is that Fabian Schär wasn't interfering because the ball was going above and beyond him. Come on, Fabian Schär is on the edge of the box in a position whereby Adam Smith fouls him for a reason because he thinks he's going to get to the ball. I'm sorry, I know you guys are Newcastle fans watching this. I always try to be honest. I don't think that's a penalty, because if Schär is offside, is he interfering with play? Well, come on, he's right bang entering the box as the ball comes in for the free kick. So for me, no penalty. Nonetheless, Gordon steps up, puts it in the bottom corner, 1-1. And then Newcastle concede the goal, which we know they're always likely to concede. And again, it goes back to the line I used last week. Siri, show me Newcastle conceding a goal. That was it. Again, a pass to beat the midfield. And Dan Burn this time, instead of being done for pace faced up against Semenyo, he's decided to try and mask that weakness by standing off him and giving the Bournemouth player all the time in the world really to decide what he wants to do. And because of that, he shoots low across goal, and it gets beneath Martin Dubravka. Can he do better? We'll revisit that in just a second. But within a minute, Dan Burn is taken off. Tino Livramento comes on. And just on Dan now, and you know how much I think of him, I do think the time has arrived to take him out of the team. This is 3 weeks in a row now where Newcastle have conceded a goal where Dan Burn has been on the scene, or you could attach some liability to him. I just think for his own good, just to break that run, take him out and put Tino Livramento in. It doesn't mean he doesn't come back in, but going down to Arsenal next week with Bukayo Saka, I think the time is now for a change in that position. So it's 2-1, and you're expecting Newcastle to throw the proverbial kitchen sink at Bournemouth, and they just don't really. And there weren't many options off the bench, but funnily enough, even for that, it's 2 changes Eddie Howe makes in the 90th minute, I think, that end up helping them salvage the point. Joe White comes on with Matt Ritchie. I actually thought Joe White did well when he come on, offered a little bit of composure in there, got in the ball a couple of times. But it's Matt Ritchie who, his first goal in 4 years, and he ends up kicking the corner flag harder than he did the football actually in celebration there. A little nod to that celebration of all those years ago when he booted the flag into the nether regions of the supporter. But in all honesty, I think that must have felt like a kick in the crotch for Iraola and Bournemouth, because I thought they were, if the 2 teams, probably the one who deserved the victory more than Newcastle. Now, why was that? As Eddie Howe has just said to us there, why were Newcastle not at full power? Why were they disjointed again? For me, it comes back to the centre-forward position. I've said this for a long time now. When you remove one of Callum Wilson or Alexander Isak, or rather both, from the team, I just think the structure that focal point goes. And there again today, it just had a bad feel about it from the off. And Newcastle in the end used 3 players in the central striker position. Anthony Gordon to begin with, Harvey Barnes early in the second half, and they finished the match with Jacob Murphy. Now, Dan Ashworth was sat there in the stands, and if this is to be his last game as Newcastle sporting director before defecting to Manchester United, as we still think he will, well, yeah, it doesn't really speak massively well of forward planning, not just him but the club as a whole, that they found themselves in this position, given the well documented in the injury problems and the weaknesses there with Isak and Wilson. Now, and just what that absence of a striker does to the team was never better exemplified than in the moments before Bournemouth's second goal, when Anthony Gordon goes through on goal, hesitates, allows Neto to take it off his foot. Within a minute, they've gone up the other end and have scored. Now, if that's Callum Wilson or Alexander Isak who goes through on goal, perhaps it's different. So it just serves to highlight, what a difference, what a blow it is to the team if you've got those 2 players out the side. Just to update on that, Wilson had his surgery yesterday. Eddie Howe said it went well. We'll see what that means down the line. Fabian Schär, he's left the pitch. Second week running. Newcastle player leave the pitch using his shirt as a sling. House said he hopes it's not serious, which I tweeted. All the replies below are RIP, Fabian Schär. Give him. We've come to know what not serious can mean, but no, he's got a problem with his wrist, so we'll know more on that early next week. Now, as previously advertised, here are my full player ratings. I met with a YouTube expert last week, and he said, "Yeah, you guys love the player marks, and well, the public gets what the public wants, and we all love player ratings really, but the poor merit stars, I really was quite fond of them. We still might try to salvage them in some form on the back of the numbers I give the players, but for this I need my team sheet and I need a pen, so forgive me, this is a first attempt at this, but yeah, here goes. I'm going to go through every player one by one, give you the mark which has appeared in the Mail on Sunday, and a little brief explanation of how I thought they did. And we'll start with Martin Dubravka, and I flagged him earlier. I've given Martin Dubravka a 5.5. Now, why have I done that? I would have given him a 5 because he's made the slip for the goal. That is a mistake, and I honestly think he can do better on the second goal. If anyone saw Petr Cech's analysis on a Monday Night Football, it was brilliant about a goalkeeper deciding to come off his line or stay in his line in terms of narrowing angles, and it's all to do with angles and decision-making time. Now, Dubravka stays on his line, and as a result, for the second goal, he gives Semenya the entire goal to hit at. Nonetheless, Dubravka still gets down. He just doesn't get down quick enough, and the ball squirms under his arm. So for me, I think he could have done better for that second goal, even though it's a cracking hit. And for the first goal, well, it's a slip. Why is he on the 5.5? Well, he's bumped up to the half because he has made the two very good saves in the first half. But nonetheless, it's a goalkeeper's job to keep them out. And for me, he's had a big part in one of them, and certainly a part in 2 goals. Now, moving on to right back, Kieran Trippier, 6.5. I thought he did okay. I thought he was one of Newcastle's better outfield players. He put a lovely couple of balls across the box. On the whole, probably one of his quieter games. But no, I thought Trippier did well enough. Certainly in attacking areas, he put one or two crosses in there. That with a centre forward, with a Wilson or an Isak there, probably would have been turned in. Now, on to the centre halves. We'll deal with Fabian Schär first of all. Now, Schär got a 6. I thought he did okay. I thought, every player's starting mark is a 6, and that's where he remains. Some good, some bad, not a great deal to say about Schär. On Botman, however, 5. I think he's been a little bit suspect for a couple of weeks now. For the goal last week down at Forest, a couple of you guys rightly pointed out in the comments beneath the line that while I spoke about Dan Burn being done for pace, well, yeah, Botman was too. And there again today, the chance for Solanke in the first half where Dubravka makes the fantastic save, it's Botman he's got the wrong side of. He gave the ball away as well once or twice. So I just think his pace, the way the midfield isn't really functioning, Botman is one who, as a result, is being exposed. A 5 for Botman. Dan Burn, now it's a 5. Listen, I didn't think he had the worst game. Yes, he was done. There was once or twice where Kluivert got away from him in the first half, and Semenya too, and then for the goal he stood off him. So he's got a 5. It's not a good mark, but I still thought there was some good in there. I do just believe now is the time to bring Tino Livramento into the midfield. Sean Longstaff, 5.5. Wasn't his best game, certainly not in terms of what he did on the ball. I actually thought, as ever, it's stating the obvious, he runs all over, the work rate, the effort isn't there, but sometimes the quality is just lacking. And in a game where Newcastle's midfield have offered little, not enough control when you're at home against a team such as Bournemouth, 5.5 for Longstaff. Louis Miley, I thought he was the pick of the midfielders, probably the pick of Newcastle's team. I'll give Louis Miley a 7. I honestly thought that was one of his best games for a good few weeks now. I thought he got on the ball, I thought he saw a lot of the ball, he was composed in the 6. I thought Louis Miley, I thought he did well. Bruno Guimaraes, well, it's a 6. I thought Bruno at times today, I thought he should have done more. Today was the sort of game when I used the same phrase, don't I? He had to put on his superhero's cape. I don't think he quite did that, but he still got a 6. It's his cross that leads to Matt Ritchie. Matt Ritchie getting the equalising goal there. He never hit. I thought he wanted a lot of the ball. He just wasn't really great on it. So it's a 6 for Bruno Guimaraes. Going into the front 3, starting on the left hand side, Harvey Barnes, he gets a 6 too. Listen, I didn't think he was brilliant. I thought he lacked sharpness, but come on, it's the guy's first start since September. Another one who never really hit, went through the middle in the second half. So it's a 6. I wouldn't bump him up. I didn't think he did anything fantastic to warrant any more than that. But to stay on a 6, given that first game in such a long time, I think is fair. Through the middle, Anthony Gordon. Well, I've just debated one or two colleagues there. Do you go 7 or do you go 6.5? In the end, I thought Miley stood out as Newcastle's best, so deserved to stay on the 7 alone. So Anthony Gordon goes down to 6.5. I thought he was busy. I thought he took his penalty well. I thought he was a nuisance. I thought he popped up on the left, on the middle, through the right, came deep. But again, doesn't that just show why they need a proper centre forward in there? Gordon 6.5, and finally Miguel Almiron. Well, it's a 5.5, and that is because at times I thought for some of what he did, it was 4.5 territory, blazing balls over the bar. There was one where he's got Kieran Trippier on the overlap, and Trippier was furious with him, could have played him in. Again with Almiron, it swings so violently between sublime and ridiculous, but there was a spell where I thought he was Newcastle's most dangerous player. That's why he gets the 5.5. Going up the substitutes, Matt Ritchie, well, it's a 7. He was only on the field he came on in the 90th minute. Turns out he was on the field for 10 minutes. Got to have a 7 for Matt Ritchie for that goal, because without him, Newcastle don't get the point. Tino Livramento, a 6, came on for Dan Burn there. Can't really say a great deal about him. Livramento came on with a 6 and he leaves with a 6. And finally, Joe White. Now, Joe White, 6.5. I thought he did okay when he came on, and he's a player I would explore more going forward in terms of that extra option in midfield. He's got to do more off the ball. I think that's Eddie Howe's concern with him. But, he's tall, he's a nice size, he's got a lovely touch. Apparently he's gone away and matured in terms of his character for the loan spell at Hull. So I thought there was a little bit of promise there with Joe White, and I'd like to see more of him in the coming weeks, especially if, those midfield options remain as stretched as they do. Now, in summary, where does this leave Newcastle? Well, it leaves them where they were last week after the 3-2 win at Nottingham Forest, the week before the 4-4 with Luton. Some good, some bad, probably more bad than good today, but that's how they're going to go between now and the end of the season. I've committed that for a long time now. The support of the crowd here, I thought, for the first 5 or 10 minutes they sung Eddie Howe's name, and they were there again towards the end. I thought the crowd were good today. That's fine. There are mitigating factors. Eddie is fine. Eddie's okay. I think there's just going to have to be a certain degree of understanding in the remaining 15, 14 matches, whatever it is. Now, where will they head next? It's down to Arsenal, and you've got to say there isn't a great deal of confidence going at that one, but we'll see where we are next weekend down at the Emirates. Goodness knows what could happen in the world of Newcastle United between now and then in terms of injuries and staff members leaving for rival clubs and all the rest of it. So anyway, one new platform on which you can stay in touch with the very latest is our WhatsApp channel. That launched yesterday. Brilliant response so far, over 1,000 subscribers, voice notes, pictures, videos from myself in there. I'll put the link in the description below. Please click through and sign up to that one. In the meantime, there's links as well to my Mail on Sunday, a match report, and yeah, it's never dull, is it? We'll have one last scan of this place. So hope you've enjoyed my reflections, guys, and I'll see you again at the end of the week looking ahead to Arsenal. Okay, take care, bye bye.